Backfire Zealot S is the successor to the popular Zealot electric skateboard that came out last year. Is it better than the Zealot? Should you buy the Zealot S? In this video, I hope to give you the information that you need to make your decision. Let's go through every part of this board, starting with the deck. The Zealot S uses the same composite deck made of maple, fiberglass, and ABS polymer that was previously offered as an upgrade option on the Zealot. The tub concave of this deck is mostly flat in the middle for a comfortable long-distance ride, and aggressively angled upward at the left and right edges for better leverage while turning. This is a comfortable flexi deck, but not too flexi. For me, at around 70 kilograms or 155 pounds, I didn't really notice the flex while cruising, which is how I like it. I'd have to stand closer to the middle if I want more bounce from the deck. The contour of this deck is lined with a purple polymer. This is so when someone like Max crashes your board, the deck would be far less likely to get damaged. The Zealot S uses Backfire's new in-house trucks, which are forged and CNC machined. They are actually forged, and not through some proprietary mumbo-jumbo. To prove it, they've made a video. As you can see, former pro skater Keith
Bronston Pickle
makes these trucks himself. You can see the full video later on Backfire's channel. Now I'm going to spend some time going over my own observations of this new truck's characteristics, because I'm personally interested in this kind of stuff. You're welcome to skip to the next section if this gets boring for you. Backfire in the past has used both clones of the Caliber 2 trucks and also authentic Caliber 2 trucks. These new Backfire trucks have similarities to the Caliber trucks, but are mostly different. Backfire's new trucks are about 2 centimeters wider. A wider truck is less maneuverable, but more stable, especially at higher speeds. Like the Caliber truck, Backfire's truck is rakeless, meaning the axle is not offset from the center of the hanger. This makes the turning behavior feel linear, as opposed to a raked truck where the responsiveness changes as you lean more. In simpler terms, the turning behavior of a rakeless truck should be more intuitive and predictable for most people. The bushing seat is shallow compared to the Caliber. This is probably the most noticeable difference. A more shallow or open bushing seat lets the bushing compress more during a turn. Both the Zealot S and Zealot use the same 95A bushings, but because of the more shallow bushing seat on the new trucks, I find that the Zealot S can turn a lot better. By the way, take a look at my video about how to properly adjust your trucks. Since Backfire used Caliber trucks in the past, I wanted to see if Caliber's stock insert bushing would fit. It does not fit. The pivot pin on the new truck is longer. This, I believe, helps reduce slop, but I'm not totally sure. If you know more about this, please leave a comment. Here's something that I think must have been a mistake. There's a rubber ring in the kingpin hole that's probably supposed to be a slop stopper, but it's so loose that I don't think it does anything. It doesn't make the truck worse, it just doesn't do anything. So are these new trucks better or worse than the trucks on the Zealot? In terms of turning behavior, they're not better or worse. With the same bushings, these new trucks can turn more, but you can also say that the Caliber 2 trucks are more stable. But since these new trucks are forged, I would say they're better overall, since they should be less likely to break. The motors have been upgraded from 750 watts to 875 watts. Based on those numbers, Backfire claims a 16% increase in torque compared to the Zealot. Zealot S continues to use belt drive with a 14:37 gear ratio. The wheels are 96 by 56 mm 80A. The original Zealot, after the first batch, did not have adjustable belt tension, and neither does the Zealot S. The belts are not too tight or too loose, so this should be okay for most people. The board comes with ABEC clone wheel pulleys installed, and also comes with a pair of Kegel pulleys, so you have lots of options for third-party wheels. But be aware that Backfire's remote does not let you customize the gear ratio setting. If you don't know what this is for, don't worry about it. I'll talk more about the remote later. The battery is the same one used in the Zealot, but with the 10% reserve removed. So instead of having 311 watt-hours available, the Zealot S battery has 346 watt-hours. It's still 12S2P using generic 21700 cells. On my range test, I rode from a fully charged battery to near empty when the top speed dropped significantly to around walking speed. My weight with everything was about 75 kilograms or 165 pounds, and my riding speed was up and down from around 20 to 40 kilometers per hour or 12 to 25 miles per hour. The weather was around 12 degrees Celsius or 54 degrees Fahrenheit. The ground was mostly flat with a few gentle slopes here and there. The range I got was 31 kilometers or 19 miles, which is around what I expected for my weight and how I was riding. Remember that range for an electric skateboard can be affected by many things. It would not be unusual to get 50% more or less range just because of different conditions. To learn more about how to get a rough estimate for range before you buy an electric skateboard, visit my website dkwon.com. By the way, if this video has been informative so far, go ahead and hit that like button to let me know. The acceleration was great on the Zealot, and to me, it's still great on the Zealot S. Backfire claims it's 16% stronger. I don't have hills here, so it's hard for me to tell. In any case, I felt like I went up to 40 kilometers per hour or 25 miles per hour in no time. The top speed is even higher, but I didn't try to go faster. Backfire claims 46 kilometers per hour or 28.5 miles per hour as the top speed. I feel like the wider trucks did help with high-speed stability, even with the less restrictive bushing seats. With wider trucks, the board is less twitchy when hitting imperfections in the road. The brakes are strong and predictable, just like before. This board has better brakes than most. Note that I was using the default 96mm wheels. Different wheels will affect the performance. The ESC, or Electronic Speed Controller, in the Zealot S is an updated version of the Hobbywing ESC, so there's stuff like standby mode, which I will talk about later. If you don't already know, the ESC is the brain of the electric skateboard, and Hobbywing makes some of the better ones for mass-produced boards. The remote is the same as before, made by Hobbywing, but with Backfire characteristics. Unlike most other e-skate brands, Backfire chooses to have only 2 standard speed modes, with an additional turbo mode that uses a separate button. 2 speed modes, I feel, is perfectly fine. On boards that have 4 or 5 modes, I hardly ever use all of them, and in fact, I dislike having to toggle through so many modes just to get to the one that I want. There's a display that shows battery indicators for the board and the remote, your current speed, speed mode, odometer, etc. While this is a cool looking remote, I don't really like the way the buttons are designed and laid out. The 3 buttons are all close together and flush with the body of the remote, so you can't tell which one you're pressing just by feel. You have to look at the remote. And when you engage turbo with the turbo button, you can't disable it by pressing the same button again. It's not an on-off button, it's an on button only. You have to press the speed mode button to disable it. I do like that there's a dedicated switch for forward and reverse. On most remotes made by Hobbywing nowadays, you have to double click or triple click a button to go into reverse. I prefer having a physical toggle. I wish it were in a different position though, like on the old Hobbywing remotes. The remote lets you choose the unit of measure, as well as the wheel size, so you can get accurate speed and distance measurements. But it only lets you choose from a few different sizes, and you can't set the gear ratio. For most people, that shouldn't matter. It just means you might not get accurate numbers on the display if you decide to tweak the performance of your board through third-party parts. The battery indicator for the board seems to be extremely inaccurate, or at least unintuitive. Like I said earlier, on my test ride, I got 31 kilometers, but for 11 of those final kilometers, the battery indicator was showing 1 out of 5 bars. So because I kept thinking the board was almost out of power, I circled the metro station for like 20 minutes until the speed finally dropped. The Zealot S has some special features that are unique to boards that use Hobbywing, but also features that are exclusively on Backfire boards. The board now has the standby feature, which means you can turn it on or off using the remote instead of bending over, because that's disgusting. Backfire is the only brand that has a dedicated turbo button on the remote for times where you need extra torque. The board has ambient lights on the sides of the battery enclosure that can be turned on or off by double-clicking the power button on the remote. Unlike the white lights on the Zealot, these lights are now purple. Both the battery and ESC enclosures have their own covers to help keep out dust and water, but I still highly recommend against riding in wet conditions. The Zealot S weighs 9 kilograms or 20 pounds. That's a bit heavier than most of its direct competitors, probably because of the large battery and wheels. At places where I can't ride the board, such as at the metro station, normally I'll pull the board by maul grabbing the front truck. For those who need to frequently carry the board, you might want to consider an eSkate backpack. I have links to a couple great ones in the description. As far as I can tell, the Zealot S looks exactly like the Zealot, but with purple lights instead of white. Of course, the trucks are also different. I'm okay with how they look. I don't love the design, but I don't hate it either. The board overall looks like a Backfire board. They've pretty much looked like this since 2017. I don't have much else to say about that. Backfire has warehouses and repair service in the US, Canada, Germany, Australia, and China. They can be reached through their website, by email, and also by phone. Their products have a 6-month warranty. Backfire's after-sales support reputation has been great for years, and that's one of the main reasons I feel comfortable recommending their products. Overall, I really like the Zealot S, just like how I really liked the Zealot. Do I like the Zealot S more than the Zealot? Yes, I do, of course. Slightly more range, slightly more power, standby mode, the pink lights look pretty sweet, purple. I like these trucks more. If you already have the Zealot, should you upgrade to the Zealot S? No, I don't think so. But if Backfire sells the upgraded ESC by itself, that might be worth considering just for the standby feature. If you decide to get the Sport and found my video helpful, I'd appreciate it if you use my discount code so I earn a bit of money. These reviews take up a lot of time, and I hope to keep doing them. If you're still watching, help me come up with an outro slogan. I never know what to say at the end of these videos.